So it begins.
Security strapped with AR-15s or shotguns, standing guard and walking the property of this North Philly gas station and convenience store.
First and foremost, I want to take a second and apologize for not having any content out yesterday. I was a little bit busy and a little bit bogged down in the video that I had ready to go. Let's just say I had a bit of an issue editing, mostly due to the internet. But this topic right here is something that, quite frankly, I wanted to touch last week when it initially broke, but I also want to get a little bit more information on it before I decide to go any further. Now, guys, the city of Philadelphia, and I don't talk about crime as much, but we're going to be talking more about crime when we go into more societal-based projects. The crime in Philadelphia, believe it or not, at this moment in time, the homicide rate is actually higher than what it is in New York City, which would kind of surprise some people. But then again, at the same time, though, when you actually dig into the actual people who are running Philadelphia right now, it's not that much of a surprise. So a store owner has decided to hire armed security. Now, here's the deal about armed security. If you can pay for armed security and you feel that it's necessary to have armed security, by all means, go right ahead and get it. In this guy's case right here, obviously it was needed. I mean, as I mentioned before, I just showed you the graphic. Philadelphia's homicide rate has gone through the roof, and they're teetering at a number of homicides that is, let's just say it's unattainable for most bad cities. Chicago, of course, being right behind it, then New York City. So basically, the situation in Philadelphia is in fact bad. As a matter of fact, you would even describe it as a bit of a battlefield. Now, guys, before we go further into this and talk about the societal implications, I want to go ahead and throw this out here right away. The store owner, of course, is within his rights, and I believe he should be able to do this, able to hire armed security. I personally think that every store owner should have a firearm behind the counter or should have a firearm on them. Some of the safest places in America are stores where the owner actually has the actual ability to defend himself. Maybe they have more than one or two people working in the store, and both of them are armed. Chances are, if you were armed, chances are if people actually see that weapon, they will be less inclined to actually attack you or less inclined to rob from you. Or if the weapon is concealed and it comes out later on that you had to shoot somebody inside the store, by the way, YouTube, I'm not advocating, I need to go ahead and throw that out there, in self-defense, chances are the story is going to get around and people are going to be less likely to try to rob your store. Now, as I said before, I'm not advocating for it, but let's be honest. We have a lot of people out there who are breaking the law and they are getting away with the very, very woke liberal district attorneys and the actual environments that they're setting. The environment, to a certain degree, sets this entire scenario. There are some people who believe that crime drives to poverty, and some people believe that poverty drives the crime. I'm a little bit up in the air about that. But before we go any further, of course, as far as commentary on this actual event, let's go ahead and get the initial news report, and then we'll start talking about the reactions from the people who live in the actual city itself. Let's go ahead and roll this.
Question for you. Would this make you feel safe? Take a look. A security guard armed with a semi-automatic weapon. It's happening at a North Philly gas station. The owner coming up with the idea to scare off criminals. If you saw this is our go vote for tonight. Would you feel safer or uncomfortable? So right now the vote is 65% of you saying safer, 35% uncomfortable. So be sure to vote at fox29.com/go vote. Shawnette, you spoke with the gas station owner who says this is needed to keep both his workers and customers safe.
Yeah, interesting listening to those numbers you just gave us, Sheba. So the store manager says that he had to do something more than call 911. And most customers, I'll tell you, that I talked to this evening on and off camera say that they support this, but there were a few who say they don't believe this is the right approach. Neil Patel is the manager of this Carco shop franchise at Broad and Clearfield.
We are tired from this all nonsense. Robbery, drug trafficking, racketings, all kind of hanging around all gangs.
He shared with me these videos of what has led up to this drastic response to crime at his business. Over the past few weeks, he says his store was trashed by young people, an ATM stolen out of the store, and he says his car was vandalized while parked at the store.
They're forcing us to hire the security, high-level security, state level. I am fearful for my safety of my employee as well as my nice neighborhood. All customers.
So 3 weeks ago, he hired the Pennsylvania site state agents.
We wear Kevlar. We are trained. My guys go to training every other week. They're proficient with this. They're proficient with their taser. They know the laws.
Andre Boyer is the chief of the company.
As a Pennsylvania state agent, that's what it says. The law tells us that we have a right to protect this property in any means necessary, and whatever force necessary to be used to protect it.
This man told employees he's against it. I asked Patel about it.
They feel like using guns, you know, when we have such a big problem with guns in the city, is not the right message.
And that's not a right. I understand that, but according to some people, violent people, they carry the gun. Then they're not afraid then, and this is the protection for neighborhood and the customers.
Now, guys, to start things off with here, make sure you pay attention to that poll, because that poll is going to come up a little bit later on in the video. So at that moment in time, as people were calling in, they were actually giving votes, you had roughly 65%. Now, trust me, that number will increase, as you will see here soon. People want to go to an area where they feel safe. And, of course, the owner, and some people are going to try to make this case, they're going to say that the owner is trying to find a way to gouge his customers. Let me explain this really quick before I go any further and explain to people that this is actually somewhat bullcrap. So here's the deal. Many people believe that because the store owner has hired a private security agency, a bunch of armed guys to come in and protect his store, many people believe that what's going to happen is that the price of everything is going to go up. He's going to start charging maybe, I don't know, like 10 cents more a drink. He's going to have to take some additional money to cover the profits that would be needed to pay for the actual armed security. The thing is this right here, though. If you have the safest store in a city like Philadelphia, which quite frankly is turning more and more and more into a crap hole, turning more and more to an S-hole, which, by the way, when people got mad over Trump saying S-hole cities, I kind of thought to myself, why are you whining? Why are you crying about this? You know the area that you live in is a crap hole. Why don't you go out there and actually try to fix it? It makes me wonder if people actually love living in the actual crappy environments they set up. But that is another topic for another day. Fact of the matter is that people believe that this store owner may be gouging money from the people that come inside the store. I don't know about you, but people are going to feel a lot safer going into that actual store. And if anything, his business is probably going to go up because people are going to feel safe going into that store versus the others. But there are always the detractors. So let's go ahead and roll this.
City, right? And you got the kids walking around. Guns like that should be on the battlefield.
Corey Berry says she's on board with it.
If you're trying to get gas, you live in a bad area, and the only place is here, and they're getting robbed all the time, I mean, I support the owner.
Sir, I don't know if you know this or not, but your city is an S-hole. Your city is a crap hole. I'm trying to keep it clean for the YouTube algorithm. Your city absolutely sucks at this moment in time. Not trying to bash the citizens of Philadelphia. That city has turned into a battlefield. It has turned into a nightmare. It has turned into a hellscape for people, and of course people are trying to leave. But then again, though, not everybody in the city of Philadelphia can actually leave. Only those who have the money can actually get up and get out of the city. You have a lot of poor people in the city who have got to go through that gas station, who've got to put gas in their vehicle before they go to work, or gas in their vehicle before they leave town, and they've also got to buy stuff within that store. Sometimes you can't go to the grocery store to get products, but you can go to the convenience store, and it's a little bit easier, and even though you're paying a little bit more for that product, because that store is right beside you, it makes it a little bit easier for you to go in and get out. And of course, having armed security there as an additional deterrent against the criminals who may try to rob you or rob the store. Business owner, by the way, is obviously Southeastern Asian. He's had to go through all types of stuff. And by the way, this kind of fits the MO of the actual crime in the area, that mostly Asian men are being targeted by those of a certain color that I cannot say here on YouTube without being branded a racist. But the fact of the matter is this right here. This guy has had to deal with robbery. He has had to deal with all types of money lost. He's had his life threatened. So obviously he is going to take drastic measures to protect himself, protect his patrons that come in there, and obviously potentially protect his family and, of course, investments in the future. Something else, too, here is that he had the ATM machine in that place stolen. The criminals who are coming in and doing this flash-type robbery where they're throwing things down, they're having fun while they're doing this, and they're also not having a behavioral correction. This right here is the type of behavior of this gentleman that he has actually got to deal with, meaning that he's got to deal with criminals who are not only robbing his store, but are actually having fun while they're doing it. This is the type of behaviors that he has to deal with, and this is the type of behaviors that a lot of these store owners in these very, very big cities have got to deal with on a daily and almost hourly basis. And here is something else to consider. The District Attorney, Larry Krasner, of course, one of the woke DAs here, has not only set the environment up for criminals to be emboldened. The thing you have to understand is this right here. And of course, I didn't speak that much on it, but has anybody taken the time to think about exactly how long it would take to remove an ATM machine from a store? it would take a while. The things are pretty freaking heavy. So right now, the police departments cannot respond to an incident after a call on time. Of course, police departments are normally not always on time when it comes to answering a call, even inside of a city, inside of an area like North Philadelphia. To go on top of this, not only are cops having to deal with criminals, but they're also having to deal with the fact that they're understaffed. So, no, I do not blame this individual at all for hiring a security company to help him take matters into his own hands. Now, guys, I want to go ahead and throw this out here one more time, okay? And, of course, we're going to talk about what may happen in the future here in a second. But go back to that poll. Go back to that poll at the very beginning of this video. You saw where it was 65% of the people were actually voting in favor of it. Now, guys, watch this next clip all the way through and make sure you pay attention to the results of this same poll.
And a lot of the comments are exactly what you got in response. This is where we are in the city. This is unfortunately what we need to do to keep our stores and our customers safe if we own a gas station.
And especially since you see everything that happened with this particular business owner. Shawnette, I just want to mention, too, just going back to our Go vote, when we came on the air, I think it was around 65% who said that it makes them feel safer. Now it's at 80%. Just during your report, it jumped up that high.
Wow. Yeah, it is certainly a sight to see, but people say it is for their safety.
The reason why the numbers are going up is because people, quite frankly, understand that it is a time where people need to start actually protecting themselves. They know that the crime is through the roof. They know that the city is an asshole. They know that it is a battlefield. They know that the owner of this store is simply trying to do what? Protect his actual property. Now, of course, like I said, somebody's going to come in here and say, well, the owner is just price gouging. He's going to be charging everybody extra. Okay, what does that extra money mean to him? Let me put it this way here. What is the extra money he gets? What is the extra profits that he gets off of this ordeal? What does it actually add to him? Because you see, he has to dole that money right back out to the security agency. And I highly doubt he's going to be hiring a cheaper security agency. What it means is this right here. He's not really profiting anything. The only thing he may be profiting is potentially more customers showing up to the store because it's actually the safest store out there. Now, there is one thing that you have to understand, because there's probably going to be a few more stores, maybe not in that exact area, but maybe in a couple areas that may actually do the exact same thing. So I do expect to see a bit of a boom for private security over the next few months in this city. However, if people feel safe going inside this area, of course, they feel safe going to go get their gas, their food, their drinks, and whatnot here, chances are he's probably going to get a lot of repeat business. And, of course, I don't blame them for doing that. However, I do got to say this right here to the citizen, though. Okay, I do got to say this. I understand that a lot of these blue cities have got very, very bad gun laws. But here's the deal. I think everybody at this moment in time, especially if you are in a city, needs to arm up, because the crime is going to continue to get worse. You're going to have certain safe spots where people go to. And, of course, you're going to have certain areas that are obviously not as safe as others. I still advise people in the city of Philadelphia to arm themselves, especially if you're in a poor community. If you can get a hold of something to protect your home, protect your family, you need to do so. See the actual laws of the city of Philadelphia. Actually research the laws, see what you can and cannot get away with. Go ahead and invest in some type of security, because right now weaponry is still relatively cheap compared to what it may be when the economy gets much, much worse. You got to decide what's more important, protecting what the hell you have or possibly running the risk of getting robbed. That's something that the gentleman that we saw earlier who said that these weapons need to be on a battlefield obviously does not get. I think he's living in a fantasy world, and I don't think he's living in reality. The city of Philadelphia is, in fact, an actual S-hole, and it is a battlefield that right now has the highest homicide rate of any other big city in the country at this moment in time. So what are the societal implications here? Well, for starters, private security firms are probably going to get a boom in business. Number two, you're probably going to see private gun ownership go through the roof. Number three, criminals are not going to attack this particular store because they obviously know that there is a deterrent there to keep them from doing it, or at least to make them think twice about it. And you will see other stores hire other security firms, and you will see people begin to get armed. However, the criminals themselves will still feel emboldened, mostly due to the woke district attorneys, let's just say, rule setting in the area. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but before I end the video, and by the way, I do want to get you guys' thoughts on this matter. I do want to hear you guys' actual comments. I want to hear exactly what it is that you guys think or what could happen, or if you disagree with anything that I say, please say something in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts. Here's the deal. We are going to be doing more projects like this, of course, talking about crime, because we got to talk about environments itself, especially as we go into societal projects. So don't be surprised if sometime next year you don't see a project that uses a movie or certain film as a backdrop to kind of help get across a point. The other day I saw one on A Clockwork Orange, and of course why it is that A Clockwork Orange was actually liberalism gone mad. Basically what you're doing is you're using the film, you're using the backdrop to kind of set the scene of what could become. Of course, movies are not real, they're surreal, but at the same time though, there's a lot of connotations that actually relate to real life and relate to what was going on at that time, which by the way could be relating to what is going on now. Now guys, with that there being said, I have one more video that's going to be coming out today here on John Claymore. There will not be a video on Gear Issue 33. However, there is going to be one tomorrow on Gear Issue 33. Make sure you guys hit that like button for the algorithm. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this matter. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Only about 30% of you guys that watch the content are subscribed, so make sure you guys hit that red subscribe button. Let's make this channel grow. Also hit the notifications bell. And with that there being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut on out for this video here. I'll be back with the second video this afternoon, and I'll see you guys later.